Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
You know, at a book signing a while ago, a listener, or maybe a viewer of the show on Rumble, gave me this shirt, Public Enemy #1. And I'm wearing it today because after yesterday's show, which went nuclear on the internet, exposing how the USAID deep state money laundering scandal was related to the collusion hoax, Spygate, the impeachment hoax, the whistleblower, I just want it out there. I am in no way suicidal. But we are, and you, in fact, in the Bongino Army as well, we are collectively public enemy #1 right now. Because I'm telling you what we exposed yesterday on that show, the Ukrainian piggy bank and the way shitty politicians, lobbyists, and people for years have been using your money to get rich, upset a lot of people. But that's okay, because that's what we do here, because we are public enemy #1. I got a big show for you today. I'm going to follow up on yesterday's show, and I'm going to blow your minds even more, showing you how why this USAID thing has everyone in the swamp freaked out. Go to shopbeam.com/Bongino. Get a good night's sleep. Use code Bongino for 47% off your first order. Today's show also brought to you by our friends over at ExpressVPN. Unfortunately, privacy is a luxury these days in the country. But if you ask me, privacy is a prerequisite to freedom. Without privacy, there is no freedom. Privacy is given to the government, tucked into millions of classified documents. It's no secret the NSA is surveilling us by buying your information from data brokers. But what if I told you there's a way to stop that transaction and get your privacy and freedom back? Do it with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is an app. It sends 100% of my online activity through secure encrypted servers so no data brokers can see anything we do online. With ExpressVPN, none of your online activity is logged. ExpressVPN is a strict zero logs policy. They can't share your data because they don't have it. It's easy to use. All it takes is one click, works on all your devices. So protect yourself and your family with ExpressVPN. Right now, you can get an extra 4 months for free when you use my special link. Go to expressvpn.com/Bongino and get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/Bongino. expressvpn.com/Bongino. All right, fellas, let's get this party started on this Friday. Folks, yesterday's show blew up the entire internet. It's one of the, we had a huge, massive audience. We brought up a very simple point. Keep this in mind. Again, bluff, bottom line up front. Donald Trump got elected in a shock election in 2016 nobody saw coming. The swamp has been making money for years in places like Ukraine and elsewhere. Biden and all his cronies. Trump looks into it. Trump gets impeached over it. How does that relate to what's going on? Michael Schellenberger, I'm going to play it again today because it's relevant. An investigative reporter found out that the predicate for the impeachment allegations against Donald Trump, because he was looking into Ukraine, may have had its genesis in USAID funding. I can't even describe to you the enormity of that. That you may have paid for regime change in the freaking United States. Bad enough we're doing it overseas. Trump exposed the Ukrainian piggy bank that Biden was profiting from. If USAID money was used to start up and gin up media propaganda that was then used to file a complaint against Donald Trump and get him impeached, it's a huge story. That explains this. Cue up that Elizabeth Warren thing. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, fake Indian Elizabeth Warren, is just one of many Democrats completely melting down and freaking out over Elon Musk, Doge, and Trump now looking into the payment systems of the United States government because they don't want you to know where the money is going. They are panicking over you figuring out where your government is spending money because they don't want you to know it's being spent to censor you and to go against your electoral choices, especially if they're Donald Trump. Listen to Elizabeth Warren. You'll see what I mean.
And look, bless everybody who gets out there and makes a fortune. Bless everybody who gets up every day and goes to work. But understand the underpinnings of all that are something we all invested in. And now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it.
Folks, she is speaking for the entire Democrat Party. Elon Musk was a hero for them when he built this electric car revolution they came to love. They turned on Elon Musk because his Doge programmers and his Doge geniuses are now inside the government for the first time in like forever, looking at where your taxpayer dollars are being spent. And now we find out that the collusion hoax, the Spygate thing, the impeachment hoax, and all of this may have been financed by some of the same payment systems Elon's looking into. Do you see why they're freaking out? Many of you picked up the book yesterday. I showed you my book, Follow the Money on this. Like I said, get it from the library, whatever. I don't really care. I have been covering this money trail for years. They don't want Elon covering it because he's got the world's biggest megaphone on Twitter. And you are going to find out that all of the anti-Trump scandals, ladies and gentlemen, are being run by the same people. The same people. I want to play this again. I hate to do it to you 2 days in a row, but folks, yesterday's show went crazy, and I cannot let you go into the weekend without wrapping this baby up in a nice little gift wrap and putting it under your political Christmas tree, okay? Here was the segment that filled in a big piece of the puzzle to my Follow the Money investigation, the money that's been used to attack you and Donald Trump forever. Where the entire thing started. And it turns out Michael Schellenberger may have an answer, that USAID and your taxpayer dollars and payments may have been used to fund a media report that was actually propaganda used to get Donald Trump impeached as he started looking into Ukraine. Check this out.
You have this new piece on Substack that the USAID and the CIA helped orchestrate Trump's impeachment.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's a crazy story. I mean, you might forget that, the House of Representatives impeached President Trump in December of 2019. Many people may not remember that it was a CIA analyst who was left over from the Obama White House who wrote the memo that led to the impeachment. It was all based on hearsay. The person had not actually been in the room with Trump. Nonetheless, this memo that he wrote relied heavily on a report done by an organization funded by USAID. In fact, its initial founding funding, now it's tens of millions of dollars, had gone into this group called the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, a name that's not very memorable, OCCRP, but it was basically created as an extension of the State Department and then of USAID. And as you know, Jesse, this is very serious to be involved in an effort to do regime change at home, as we've been discovering as the files have come out with what Elon Musk has been doing. We know that USAID was really about regime change abroad. It was a kind of public-facing part, regime change operation like CIA, but not covert, more overt. Well, now you see a similar blowback, just like they did censorship abroad and brought censorship tools back home. They were doing this sort of thing abroad, creating a predicate essentially for Trump's impeachment.
Folks, I had to play this again because this is such an insane story that explains everything that's gone on over basically the last 10 years, roughly. Donald Trump started entering around and sniffing around the presidential race in around 2015. And that's, by the way, my sources tell me that's roughly when the spying starts as well on Trump and a lot of the Republican candidates for president. What my source calls many of the Pied Piper candidates. I gave you the list a long time ago of the people that my source alleges were spied on. It wasn't just Donald Trump. But this is now 10 years explained in one simple segment on the Jesse Waters Show. They are pissed off about Elon and USAID because they cannot have a paper trail of the regime change stuff they've been doing at home to destroy Donald Trump. And you paid for it. Some of you may have forgotten this. I played this on yesterday's radio show, but it's pivotal to put it together on a podcast where you can all put it together and see it, okay? Does this make sense now? Schellenberger and Jesse Waters last night in that segment. Schellenberger's reporting, he's alleging that the whistleblower which we believe is this guy, Eric Ciamarella, who is a Obama CIA holdover on the in the Trump National Security Team early in the White House, right? He's indicating that he may have gotten his information from media reports funded by USAID, who was paying money to Politico and elsewhere in other outlets, right? Ciamarella, if you read my book, you'll note that he was working with Biden on the Ukraine portfolio, where Biden and his family are making a ton of money in Ukraine. Obama knows all of this. He's warned about it. The media is desperately protecting Obama. They don't care about Biden. That's why they want to make this story go away badly. This is what was going on when Biden was the vice president. Do you remember these calls? This is how freaked out they were. They had to impeach Donald Trump when he calls Zelensky and starts asking questions about the Ukraine grift. And this is where USAID fits in. You may have forgotten these tapes. I'm not going to let you. This is the president prior to Zelensky. And by the way, Zelensky knows all of this. This guy, Poroshenko. Biden's got the Ukraine book for the Obama White House. Obama puts him in charge. Biden uses it to make money right away. Here he is freaked out talking to the prior Ukrainian president, Poroshenko, about this new prosecutor who's going to start looking into how Biden family and all these other people who are making a shit ton of money in Ukraine. Here's Biden freaked out. And I'll translate. The Ukrainian president has a thick accent. I'll tell you what he says. But I want you to listen to this. They had to shut this thing down. And that's where USAID came in. Check this out.
Let me ask you one thing before I forget. Privat bank. I understand the governor of the bank is tentative about setting a date certain for the transition to take place. And I'm being told secondhand that, I don't know this is her position for sure, that she is unsure of a date until she gets an agreement from you. Here's what I've told them. I've told them to get back to her and set a date, and I would talk to you about the date. Because this is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in a position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail. So anything you can do to push the Privat bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security. I know it's difficult. I know Kolomoisky is a pain in the ass and a problem for everybody, but it really is critical.
Do you guys see what's going on here? We play this one first for a reason. Biden is basically threatening the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky. Hey, man, your physical security could be at risk if you don't shut this down right away. Notice what he's talking about. He's afraid Donald Trump is going to start looking into the money going to Ukraine. That's what that whole thing is about. He's afraid of Privat Bank specifically, which is a bank alleged to be involved in the payments between Burisma and the Biden family through Hunter Biden. He doesn't want, very simply stated, he is terrified that Ukraine, Poroshenko, is going to start asking President Trump for Ukrainian money. President Trump and his team are going to start looking at the money that went over there and find what? Maybe that USAID funds were involved in the attacks on Donald Trump, the collusion hoax, and the other stuff. You get what's going on here? By the way, hat tip OANN, Chanel Rion for doing a great job on this, by the way, and others. That's where some of these clips are from. Appropriate hat tips in order. It gets worse. Here's Biden again. I've got two more of these. Talking about, again, the prosecutor general and FBI investigations, where he grows increasingly freaked out that people are going to start looking into all the people who are making money in Ukraine, Democrats and Republicans, by the way, him being one of them, and he's terrified Trump is going to be the guy to shut this gravy train down and expose what's going on. Check this out.
Assuming that there is a new government and a new prosecutor general, I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, we don't have any information about he doing something wrong, I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday, I especially asked him to resign.
Congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And I'm a man of my word. And that now that the new prosecutor general is in place, we're ready to move forward in signing that new $1 billion loan guarantee.
The balls on this guy? After threatening the guy, he now says, hey, that $1 billion loan guarantee the U.S. is going to help you out with. Yeah, now I'll go out and do a public signing as long as you make the prosecutor general looking into this whole thing Trump's looking into go away. That hat tip New York Post on that one. And again, that's all the same people, folks. The Democrats have had an unusual interest in one Rudolph Giuliani for the last, 8 years? Suing him, trying to prosecute him, destroying his reputation. You know Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York. Why? That's why. Because if you were watching and not listening to the podcast, if you're watching on Rumble, you'll see in that post clip that those tapes, some of them were released through someone, through Giuliani. So, of course, instead of actually investigating those tapes, which is the biggest freaking scandal of our time, they investigate who? Rudy Giuliani. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if it turns out there's a USAID connection to that, too. Do you understand what your government has been doing in your name? Opening your border, actively terrorizing its citizens through censorship campaigns, funding operations around the world to get rid of Donald Trump and put his people in jail. I'm going to play one more. I'm going to take a break. Here's one last one for you, where the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky, and by the way, Zelensky's never come clean on any of this. Zelensky knows what's happening here. The Russia-Ukraine war is a different matter. I'm just telling you, Zelensky could have shut this down, this impeachment hoax, right away by telling people about this. And he didn't. He knows about this. Here's Biden starting to freak out because the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky is worried about the FBI looking into this stuff. But Biden assures you, don't worry. The FBI, we got that taken care of. Winky, winky, nod, nod. Check this out.
If it is true that FBI working with him, at least I want to know that.
No, they are not. I told you the FBI concluded he had nothing, and they stopped. That was it. There's no reason to talk to him again.
Okay.
I will check that and confirm that with you.
Now, again, here it is. Follow the money, folks. If you read the Insane in Ukraine chapter, in the beginning, you'll find out there's a whole other story about what the FBI was doing with a Soros group in Ukraine to make sure all this stuff went away. All of this stuff is documented in the book. There's an FBI agent who later went on to work with a Soros-affiliated group that was trying to push a do not prosecute list to cover all this stuff up. And they went after Giuliani when he exposed it. They freaked out to make sure nobody would find out about the Ukraine piggy bank they were all profiting off of. You don't think freaking Putin knew about this whole thing? You don't think it's a little bit odd that Putin waits for Trump to leave office to invade Russia knowing he's got all of this material on Biden and all the people who made money in Ukraine? You don't think that's weird? What do they say in New York? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Folks, they were in a panic over this USAID story because your money has financed a lot of this. What a scam. I got more on this coming up next, including now the federal judges getting involved trying to shut this down. This is how freaked out they are about this whole thing. Hey, if you're a gun owner who thinks the battle's over because Trump won, think again. The threats haven't disappeared. They're merely evolved. To help defend yourself and loved ones in today's world, you should stay informed about the latest strategies. That's where the USCCA's free expert-led in-person training classes come in. Simply visit uscca.com/class to sign up for a class near you. They're excellent. With over 50 options to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit. Some of their more popular classes include Should I Shoot? When Can You Use Force? You learn when it's justified to protect yourself, defense shooting fundamentals, women's situational awareness, and personal safety. As a responsible, well-trained gun owner, you owe it to yourself and your family to receive training from some of the best in the industry. Don't let your firearm become a liability instead of an asset. And trust me, the expert instructors at the USCCA are second to none. Check them out. Go to uscca.com/class right now to register for a free training class in your area. Empower yourself, prepare for the worst, pray for the best. Train up. Sign up today at uscca.com/class. Thank you, USCCA. We appreciate it. Look at this. Fox News happened yesterday. Federal judge orders limited Doge access to sensitive Treasury Department payment system records. Folks, this is the entire federal government right now, the swampy portion, is committed to making sure you never find out where the hell all this money came from and where it went. It is disgusting what is going on. This is an enormous scandal. I can't say this enough. The U.S. lawmakers have been bought off for years in foreign countries, Ukraine included. The Ukrainians knew about it. Vladimir Putin knew about it. It may be one of the reasons, because he had blackmail information on a freaking U.S. president, he invaded a country and nearly started World War III. And the media, instead of trying to uncover these payments to these people, to start these impeachment scandals and the collusion hoax, what did they do? They focused on reputation destruction of Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani. This thing is just, it's so spiraled out of control. You can tell by my zeal to cover this that I feel like, again, my life's work is finally coming out. Thanks to other people, too. Schellenberger opened up an angle I was not aware of, filled in a huge piece of the puzzle for me. Folks, another thing they're losing their minds over, the Democrats, is this immigration enforcement. They are doing everything to tie up Donald Trump, to tie up his nominees. They cannot exist without their demographic destiny plan and the open border. They are at the point now where, unbelievably, left-wing organizations are actually ratting out the United States government to basically terror groups like TDA gangs to make sure they don't get arrested. This was the Border Patrol chief on Fox talking about this. I can't even tell you how much control of our government we have completely lost. Thankfully, 2 weeks ago, this changed. But the mess we have to clean up is near apocalyptic. Check this out.
Talk about these latest numbers that you have and how you guys have been able to get it done, Chief.
So look, the U.S. Border Patrol, we know how to get the job done. We know how to secure the border. All we needed was a president that was going to empower us, a strong leader like President Trump, and then a secretary like Secretary Noem that knows exactly what we need to do to secure the border. We're seeing almost a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January the 21st. Not only that, but our criminal prosecutions of those we're apprehending is up almost 52%. You talked about, you let in with the Tren de Agua. Our U.S. Border Patrol BORTAC unit is out there with ICE making those arrests. And so, look, Border Patrol knows how to secure the border. All we needed was an administration that would let us enforce the law. And we're out there, and we are seeing phenomenal gains on the border.
I have to I have to distill this down to two big important things. The reason these stories are running after each other is for a reason. Everything the corrupt progressive wing of the Democrat Party has done has been done to intentionally destroy the United States. This is not a freaking accident. They figured out a long time ago, if they can hide the money trail, they can steal your money, use government money, trillions of dollars of government money. That's what our budget is, $7 trillion. Take a chunk of it, spend it on anti-American activities. They are literally spending your money to destroy your country. They are also flushing it to non-governmental organizations that are not just doing things like attacking Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani and paying for media propaganda used to impeach him, but they're being paid to religious groups and other groups out there to open our borders so we're invaded. This is the craziest thing. It's like if you read about it in a history book about the Roman Empire, you'd be like, they paid people to invade their country? That's what we're doing. And then when the invasion happens and gang members get in the country, the left has to protect the gang members just like they have to protect the corrupt money running that was going on in Ukraine. And they warned them, hey, ICE is coming. ABC News. ICE carries out a raid in Colorado. 100 members of a Venezuelan gang targeted for arrest. Targeted for arrest. I say targeted because we didn't get a lot of them. Because left-wing media goons and others and other groups out there made sure they got away. Listen to Tom Homan, our borders are on this. If this doesn't piss you off, how corrupt our government has been, this is why we need Rock'em Sock'em robots for the next 2 years. There's no time, folks. We have so many messes to clean up. The left is this is intentional. They're not destroying the country by accident. Watch this.
So many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore.
This is how it's done when you FA and you have to FO. Homan understands, the left understands nothing other than the old Michael Anton line, real material losses. Listen to me. If you do not impose real material losses on the left, they will change none of their behavior. You want the left to stop warning rapists, murderers, and gang members that there's going to be a raid and they're going to be deported by Homan and our United States heroic men and women in the Border Patrol and elsewhere? You want to stop it? When they warn them and they impede an investigation, go lock them up, then it'll stop. It's the only way. They don't understand talk. They don't understand chatter. They only understand handcuffs and real material losses imposed upon them. There is no other way, folks. This, of course, is our FO segment where a lot of lefties are starting to find out that after they FA'd, a lot of us are tired of letting it go. We're not doing that anymore. And you're now going to FO too. You're going to find out. Lefties are just starting to find out now, of course, the penalties for voting for left-wing lunatics like gang members in your community, your energy bill going crazy, the U.S. going bankrupt, massive inflation. Oh, look at this story. Governor Hochul, what state is that? New York. That's a liberal state, Dan. Yes, it is. I used to live there. Governor Hochul's green energy push drives the average New Yorker's Con Ed bill, that's the energy company up there, up $154 a month in just 5 years. I love New York, man. I was born there. I live there. But you keep voting for this crazy, and crazy's going to kick you right in the balls and is going to steal the money right out of your wallet. You are going to go broke right quick, as they say down here. Folks, the FOing is going to continue, man. Thankfully, Trump's got people in there now who understand this problem. Did you see this video that went viral of our new Secretary of Energy, who has now been confirmed, Chris Wright? You want to talk about a guy who gets the green energy scam and why Trump appointed these people? And this guy's about to let you FO that the green energy scam is done? This was all over the internet the other day. Listen to him explain in just about 30 seconds plus how this shit is over, this scam. Check this out.
People who are driving policy, the media, politicians, they've never bothered to learn anything about climate change, and they don't seem to appreciate at all that the cost and affordability of energy is simply intimate to human well-being. It always has, everywhere and always. So these two ignorances about the importance of energy and about real facts about climate change are driving just a massively destructive movement, not just destructive to the economic well-being of humans, but I speak in schools, it's turning people away from science, and I mean science, this process of questioning and challenging, not the science, this sort of top-down, mandates that justify what people want to do anyway.
I can't tell you this enough, how Trump is the FAFO president. You think he's appointing these people by accident? RFK, Tulsi, Kash Patel, Chris Wright, new secretary Pete Hegseth. You think this was all by an accident there? Folks, people are about to find out. And we don't have time. We don't. There's not a single day that can go to waste. We have to keep swinging, playing rock'em sock'em robots every day. Don't stop politically punching at any time. I've got more coming up next, including an update on the Jeffrey Epstein story we discussed yesterday on the podcast and radio show. How people in the DOJ, there are some whispers that we may finally get that story out there. Interesting, because I let you know yesterday, and I put the receipts in the show if you want to watch yesterday's show if you missed it. What the hell was Obama's fixer doing meeting with Jeffrey Epstein? It's kind of a story nobody really wants to talk about. More on that coming up next. Field of Greens, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite supplements. It's actually the staple of my supplement agenda. What is Field of Greens first? It is healthy, wholesome, organic fruits and vegetables. We don't always have time to eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Ground up into this delicious tasting powder. It's a small scoop. I like the wild berry, this lemon lime. You put it in whatever beverage you like. Protein shakes, I put it in green tea. I love it. It's delicious. A glass of Field of Greens daily is like nutritional armor for your body. The fruits and vegetables were selected by a doctor who works there. There's a heart health group, lung and kidney groups, metabolism. I love the energy I get with Field of Greens. I've shown you my blood work since I've been taking it. It's delicious. It's the nutrition my body needs daily to function at a high level. And only Field of Greens makes you a better health promise. Your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. Let me get you started with my special discount. I got you 20% off your first order. It's big savings. Order Field of Greens today. Just use code Dan at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. That's code Dan at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Our last sponsor today before we get back to the show. When it comes to protecting your family, it's not just about having a firearm. Byrna, folks, Byrna. Because lethal force isn't the answer for every situation. Imagine an imminent threat comes to you and your family. Instinct may drive you to reach for a firearm immediately. But what if there were a way to defend yourself and de-escalate a situation without the irreversible consequences of deadly force? BYRNA, Byrna, has a non-lethal pistol launcher equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo, which can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No need to go DEFCON 1. You just need protection to ensure we can defuse the situation and drive the threat away. I've trained with firearms for many years, and the Byrna pistol they sent me was really easy to learn to use. If you don't own a firearm, even if you do, it's a great option to have. Made in America, legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now for an exclusive 10% discount for my listeners. That's Byrna, BYRNA.com/Dan. Check it out. You won't regret it. Highly recommended. Check it out. All right, back to the show. Just a quick update on... the Bongino Army, the chat. We love you guys, the P1s out there, the McGroin crew, everyone. I am so proud to be part of this where we are way ahead of people who do this for a living on what Donald Trump is. I said that wrong. Let me just kind of rephrase that. Professional media people get paid to tell you the news every day. Here are the stories. Here are the headlines. It's absolutely incredible that after 10 years of Donald Trump being on the political scene, that a bunch of us, this kind of like ragtag group of Bongino Army members, that we consistently beat the media on explaining how Donald Trump works. We don't even get paid to do this. We're soccer coaches, electricians, former cops, and we're constantly teaching the media how to do their own job. I told everyone about the Gaza story. Everyone chill. He's not talking about a military takeover of Gaza. If you just would have waited a day, you would have figured that out. Unsurprisingly, however, Breitbart, Hamas calls Trump irresponsible for Gaza takeover plan. Ridiculous and absurd. Folks, we should definitely back off the plan now. The terror group of infant murdering, women raping savages is like, we don't really like this plan. It's ridiculous or absurd. Oh, that's it. That case, forget it. You better scrap that. We're done. We're done with that. Wait, Hamas doesn't like, oh, forget it. As if you got your asses kicked. To these Hamas losers out there and demons, right? What part of you got your ass kicked don't you understand? Again, you want to argue the Palestinian case. I get it. It's very complicated. I understand it. There's no case for Hamas. They're demon savage. They're not even, to call them pigs is really an insult to pigs. It is. They're just garbage. They're human filth. They're piles of human shit. These people mean nothing. They are demon savage slobs. You got your ass kicked. You got your nuts blown off by pagers you were too stupid to figure out were rigged. Your entire leadership has been wiped out. Nobody gives a shit about what you think about Trump's plan. Hamas, they call the plan irresponsible. This is classic. You know what's irresponsible? A massive terror strike on Israel, killing innocent people, shoveling their heads off, raping women, getting your ass handed to you, and then having the balls to speak out about Trump's plan. Even commenting on this thing is irresponsible. Nobody gives a shit what you think, Hamas. Nobody cares. You're getting your ass kicked. You should be thanking Donald Trump for volunteering the United States to at least have some role in rebuilding the place that was destroyed because of your bullshit. Now, getting back to the story I talked about yesterday. Huge story, again, not a lot of people are talking about. There is a little current of information I'm getting that the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi may be finally releasing a lot of information on this Jeffrey Epstein case, which is a huge deal. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm hoping it does. I've been covering it for a long time. The Jeffrey Epstein case, you do not know all the details of this thing, I promise. There are a lot of really obviously powerful people. This part you know, but the specific names we may not, including, I believe, the Clintons, based on information I discussed yesterday, who are knee-deep in involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and no one can figure out what the level of entanglement is. Jeffrey Epstein met with Obama's fixer, his lawyer, Katherine Rummler, who was always the one in the middle of these Obama scandals, and we can't figure out why, what they're hiding. Here's Marsha Blackburn, who has been all over this. She's a senator from Tennessee, Republican, obviously. And she's like, hey, man, is it time now? It's time to start overturning that rock and seeing what's underneath it. Check this out.
I've repeatedly requested a subpoena for the complete unredacted Epstein flight logs from the FBI. I've also pushed for the release of Ghislaine Maxwell's unredacted little black book of contacts and addresses. The American people have the right to know who flew on his planes, who witnessed the crimes, and who potentially participated in his global sex trafficking ring. Yet time and again, in the last Congress, Democrat leadership and then FBI Director Wray stonewalled my request. But now, with Republican control of Congress and President Trump back in the Oval Office, we're going to see some real change on this issue. Just last week, the president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country. To be clear, this is not a celebrity issue. This is about ending modern-day slavery and finding out who is participating in these sex trafficking rings.
Did you hear the key part of that? The Ghislaine Maxwell Black Book. What names are in there, man? You understand how many powerful people probably want this thing to desperately go away? How many people were interconnected with this Epstein sex ring operation? I heard from a reporter once that there are tapes. A very well-respected reporter, many of you know, that there are a lot of tapes out there of a lot of people. I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about it yesterday. You can go check it out. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever. Folks, the Clintons are knee-deep in that thing. The Clintons are at this point in their sad, sorry, pathetic, tragic careers where they've ruined the country, ruined the Democrat Party. The Clintons, you would think there'd be a time where the Clintons would just slither off into the sunset, collect their big fat speaking fees and go away, especially given that Bill Clinton may be knee-deep in this Epstein thing. Not the Clintons. So, you know, I have a personal attachment to the Duffy family. What does that have to do with this whole thing? Well, Evita Duffy hosts the excellent Bongino Report Early Edition with Evita, a show we're very proud of. One of the most successful new podcast launches ever, by the way, thanks to her and her content. Well, her father is Sean Duffy, who is the Secretary of Transportation. I love Sean. Known him a long time. Good man. So the Secretary put out this tweet the other day, and how does this tie to the Clintons? Almost seamlessly. He puts out a tweet, says, big news, talk to the Doge team. Here's Doge again. They don't want anybody looking at it except, Secretary Duffy. Talk to the Doge team. They're going to plug in to help upgrade our aviation system. Sounds like a really good thing, right? Thank you, Secretary Duffy. We got this archaic aviation system. We just had an incident in Pennsylvania. We had an incident right at Reagan Airport. So, of course, Hillary Clinton, who can never shut up, the dossier, the Russia hoax, Whitewater, an endless litany of Hillary Clinton, Rose Law Firm, Vince Foster. Hillary Clinton has to stick her nose into everything because they just can't shut up. She says to Secretary Duffy about Doge, they have no relevant experience. Most of them aren't old enough to rent a car. And you're going to let them mess with airline safety that's already deteriorated on your watch? On your watch. The guy's been the secretary for like a week. Thankfully, he responded. Good job, Mr. Sean. Madam Secretary, with all due respect, experienced Washington bureaucrats are the reason our nation's infrastructure is crumbling. You need to sit this one out. I don't think I would have been as polite, but Sean's a good man. A nice Wisconsin disposition to him. They are terrified of Elon Musk's Doge team. Listen, I met Elon in a green room once. I don't know him at all. I said maybe 2-3 words to him. He was very kind to me, nice to my wife, took a picture with Paula. I don't know Elon. But I'm going to tell you something. I think Elon Musk's most important piece of work and contribution to this fabric of America is not going to be Tesla. These are all important things. It's not going to be SpaceX. I don't even think it's going to be him saving X. Those are all critical things. If this Doge continues to do what it's doing right now and uncovering what our government's been doing in our name and can fix even 50% of it, the footprint this guy will have left on our society will be amazing. Guy said it right. Forget 50, 10, 20%. The stuff in just 2 weeks that Elon and Doge have found out is so mind-blowing that we're doing entire shows on it. It's why the left is freaking out and wants Elon in jail, like actually wants him in jail. Fox News ran a piece. Meet the young team of software engineers slashing government waste at Doge. God forbid they do that. Government waste is the bedrock of the Democrat Party. Here's the freak out. This is how crazy it is. You've got people like AOC. And by the way, I mean this because we owned a bar. We had a bartender in our bar. He was one of the smartest guys I ever met. He listened to people. He was like a psychiatrist. Guy Vinny, super smart. Not a knock on bartenders. However, if you're there are dumb people everywhere. We had dumb people in my job. We had dumb people all over the place. I've worked with. There are dumb bartenders too. Not a lot of them, but there are dumb ones. AOC was one of them. Here's AOC again freaking out about Elon and amazingly sees no irony in this at all. The single dumbest member to ever be elected to Congress is now criticizing these like super genius kids as being unintelligent. This really happened. Check this out.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. They're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
Things can go sideways. Things can go sideways? Like USAID paying media propaganda people to invent a fake story about Donald Trump to overthrow the United States government? Like that kind of sideways? Things can go sideways like what? We can't figure out how to keep a plane and a helicopter from crashing into each other over a major airport just miles away from the White House? Is this woman for real? Are you sure this is the hill you idiots on the left want to die on? Elon is a dumb billionaire? You didn't even own the bar. You were a server behind a bar before you unbelievably got elected to Congress with this dumb reform act that's not reform. You just want the government to keep wasting people's money. By the way, here's a quick clip of the people. AOC is definitely smarter than these people. Here's one of Elon's engineers deciphering the Dead Sea Scrolls or something. I bet he wanted to be a bartender like AOC. Check this out.
So I've always been interested in history. Growing up, I learned Latin. I was never that good at it, but I was always kind of into that sort of stuff, read a lot about the Roman Empire and things. There are these burnt up scrolls that were buried in the Pompeii eruption. No one knows how to read them, but some professors have created CT scans of these scrolls, and they uploaded the data on the internet as a competition to see who could find writing inside of these scrolls. There are hundreds of these scrolls that are from the mansion. We've scanned a couple of them, and no one had been able to find any writing in them using these methods. Late one Saturday night, I was sitting at a party at a friend's house in Omaha, and I get a text from another person on the challenge team, and he says, "Hey, I've just uploaded this new kind of piece of the scroll. You should take a look at it." I remotely access my computer. I type into it like, "Please run the algorithm on this new piece of scroll." And then I just kind of started. I pull out my phone again, just nonchalantly, like, "Hey, I wonder how that went." And there are 3 Greek letters on the screen, letters I'd never seen before. It was really cool because it's like, oh my goodness, like we actually detected new writing in the scrolls using AI. That was the moment I realized like this is actually going to work. Like we're probably going to read the scrolls. Now we're reading entire paragraphs from the scrolls, and hopefully we'll be able to read the entire book and read the hundreds of other books that were buried in this condition as well.
What a moron. That guy sounds... I bet he wishes he had AOC's IQ. Oh, you know, how many times have we spoken about stupid, smart people, smart people, and stupid people? For those of you who've missed it, stupid people are just people who are stupid and just don't know anything. Unfortunately, it happens. Smart people are the most valuable members of society, the Elon Musk types, that understand the limits of their own knowledge. So they hire other people to do things. You know, I'll give you an example. You're a great heart surgeon. Doesn't mean you can change oil. You hire a good mechanic for it. That's what makes you a smart person. Stupid smart people are stupid and smart because they're really smart, but they think being smart in one space means they're smart in every space. So AOC, who may have bullshitted a bunch of people to getting elected, thinks she knows everything about everything, including government payment systems, and therefore that makes her a stupid smart person. They're the most dangerous people in the world because they don't know the limits of their own knowledge. You see there's a plague of this on the left. They're not inherently dumb people, but they don't understand the limits of their own intelligence. So they think they can inject themselves into every space of your own life. And by the way, this is epidemic on the squad side. And I know, he's right. I mean, in AOC's example, it's probably not the best one because she's legitimately stupid. She just doesn't know any. Remember that interview with Margaret Hoover? I don't really know anything about the Middle East, and maybe you should just shut up. Here's another one, though, Ayanna Pressley, who's not dumb, again. But this is a stupid, smart person. This is a plague on the left, especially with the squad. Here she is, and I want you to, she's talking about white people in Iowa. Did you see this? And I just want you to listen to this for a second. She, of course, is a radical left-wing communist Democrat, crazy person who's obviously a racist. I mean, just plainly by what you're about to hear. She's complaining about how people in Iowa and stuff don't really know anything or can't relate to people because they're white. And I just want you to replace white with any other racial group and tell me how this isn't like a racist thing. You can't because, of course, it is. Take a listen.
Like Iowa. Governor Reynolds, let's learn more about the state. Do you know what percentage of Iowans are white and what percentage are black?
I don't know the exact percentages, no. We're by far a larger percentage of white population.
That's correct. Iowa is 90% white and only 4.5% black. So that is drastically different from the national population. So when Republicans suggest Iowa should be a national model, they're advocating for a government that doesn't reflect our country.
Folks, you see how these stupid, smart people, how they think because they got elected to Congress, they can racially engineer the entire country into their new far-left communist ideological way of thinking. They are obsessed with identity politics. They cannot stop talking about race because they don't have anything else. Race is a proxy for them. That is it. It is a proxy for them to get voters to hate Republicans. If they constantly bring up race and Republicans are arguing for a colorblind society, what do? They can't get you to vote for them because they suck, AOC and Ayanna Pressley. So they get you to vote against Republicans. Look, they're racist. So they have to constantly bring up race. They will die on this hill no matter what because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything else. One more video before the end of the week. You know, I love this guy, Peter St. Ange. This is an economics video, but it's a Friday. I want to throw this out there because this guy's really good on the economics front. I know some of you love it, some of you hate it, but this is a good one about our government spending habits and how Republicans better get their act together too, showing you I am a bipartisan criticizer of bad policy. Republicans better get their act together on this spending thing. If Donald Trump, Elon, and Doge are going to put their reputations on the line to clean up government waste, then we better get these people in Congress on board too. Here's what I mean. Check this out.
Congressional Republicans just wrapped up a 3-day confab where they agreed to massive tax cuts, accompanied by, of course, precisely zero spending cuts. One out of two, I guess, from Washington's drunkest sailors. The agreement was part of a GOP effort to unite around a massive tax and spending bill to, quote, codify Donald Trump's campaign promises. It does great on taxes, extending Trump's first-term tax cuts and planning for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and slashing business income tax. Alas, it only cuts $31 billion in annual spending, roughly 0.5%, the federal budget, and then it immediately turns around and adds $32 billion in new spending, so no Lockheed is left behind.
Listen, I'm asking you all as a friend of the cause. I don't have friends in politics, but friends of the cause. Congressional Republicans, if you are allied in this cause, which you ran on and say you are, you're going to lose everyone. The public appetite for big change is here right now. Elon, Doge, Trump, the MAGA revolution. You have a 2-year window before the midterms for massive change. We don't want to see a penny here, a penny there. We want to see massive cuts at the burden of government, because that's what it is. Get on the train, man. You're going to get run over by it. These folks in my chat with the biggest MAGA show out there, they'll tell you right now, yes or no. They'll tell you right now, we are in the mood for big change. No more carving around the edges. The show is a bipartisan criticizer of bad ideas. And if you think cutting a penny here, penny there, and penny there is a good idea, you're watching the wrong show. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this week. Please spread yesterday's show and today's show around. This USAID scandal is huge. The money, the impeachment hoax, all of it is related. It's all tied together. Between yesterday and today's show, you now have the full picture. Pick up the book, Follow the Money, read it. I promise it's going to open your eyes. Rumble.com/Bongino. Go there. Please click that follow button. We would deeply appreciate it. It is free. Subscribe, absolutely free. We're almost at 3.5 million followers. And give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. I will see you back here on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. See you then.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.